Hi everyone, welcome back to my series on director David Lynch. My last video was on Dune, which came out in 1984, and it was just 2 years later that David Lynch released the film came after that, Blue Velvet, which, interestingly enough, was also produced by Dino De Laurentiis, who produced Dune. And since Dune was such a failure critically, and probably didn't do that well at the box office either, I was a little surprised by this, but apparently they had a good working relationship. This was also the second film that David Lynch utilized Kyle MacLachlan, who played the lead in Dune. He played the lead in this one as well, a character named Jeffrey Beaumont. And it was the first film that David Lynch cast Laura Dern in. Laura Dern went on to appear in two other movies for David Lynch, Wild at Heart and Inland Empire. Kyle MacLachlan's character is Jeffrey. He's a college kid who grew up in a very sort of idyllic middle American suburban neighborhood, suburban town. And by all appearances, it's a pretty normal, nice little place to live. But there's this underside to it that Jeffrey discovers. He is home from college to help out while his father's in the hospital. His father had an attack of some kind, and so he's laid up in the hospital, and Jeffrey is helping out. And while he's there, he comes across a severed ear in a field. He takes it to a police officer, a detective who lives in his neighborhood, and tells him what he found. And the detective said, well, we're going to investigate, and thanks very much for helping us, but can't tell you about this, of course, until the investigation is closed. So thanks very much, Jeffrey. And of course, Jeffrey's really, really curious. Whose ear is this? Where did it come from? What happened to the guy who used to be attached to it? What's going on? And it's at this point that the detective's daughter, who is a senior at the high school Jeffrey used to attend, is a girl named Sandy, who's played by Laura Dern, and she, living in the same house as her father, naturally has overheard a little bit of what cases he's working on, and provides Jeffrey with a little bit more information as to what might have happened to the person with the missing ear. So the two of them, they just start to, Jeffrey is really, really interested in this because this is a side of his town that he never was aware of before, involving criminals, drug dealers, kidnappings, and what have you. He just wasn't aware of it, and so he's very, very curious about what's happened with this. So he enlists Sandy's aid in investigating. He decides to, he learns from Sandy that a woman who might be involved in the whole situation is named Dorothy. She is a nightclub singer and she lives in an apartment building. So Jeffrey decides to break into her apartment and hide in the closet and observe her to see if he could learn more about what's going on. Sandy's like, I don't know, I don't think you ought to be doing this, but good luck, best of luck. So things get a lot more complicated from there. Jeffrey discovers that Dorothy's being terrorized by a man named Frank Booth, who's played by Dennis Hopper. And apparently this guy has kidnapped her husband and son and is holding them hostage and is threatening to hurt them if she, Dorothy, doesn't do what Frank wants. I get the feeling that Frank was sexually abused by his mother, and that he needs a woman to help him relive the experience or something like that. He's very, very twisted. If I'm not mistaken, Dennis Hopper was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for this movie, and it's it's a real milestone in his career, I guess, or at least a big a milestone, because before then he was playing crazy guys, and now he's playing evil crazy guys. Played a lot of bad guys in various films after this: Speed, Waterworld, bunch of others. So Jeffrey is scared of Frank, but he really wants to help Dorothy. And once Dorothy discovers that he is hiding in her apartment, watching her, she is mad at first, but after a while she begins to take comfort in his presence. Frank doesn't want her talking with anyone about what's going on, of course. He wants to keep torturing her because he likes it. So Jeffrey is someone who she wants to have around because he's a relatively normal guy that won't mistreat her. Unless, of course, she wants him to mistreat her. People get messed up in this movie. They get messed up in the head, and take pleasure in crazy things. And Jeffrey's in way over his head. He's trying to investigate Frank. He's trying to figure out what's up with the guy, who his associates are, where he might be keeping the kidnapped people. In the meantime, he's also dealing with Dorothy, and he's beginning a romance with Sandy as well. Yeah, a lot on Jeffrey's plate. Now, as to my opinion of this movie, it's a well-made movie, but I never really was like head over heels about it the way a lot of people were. The score is by Angelo Badalamenti, who went on to do a number of David Lynch films after this one. This was their first collaboration, and in particular he did some of the memorable themes from Twin Peaks, the TV show. And I like Angelo Badalamenti a lot. Excuse me. City of Lost Children is a really good score of his to check out. It's by the director of Amelie and Delicatessen. And but this score wasn't my favorite of the ones that he's done. It's okay, but nothing particularly exciting about it. I did notice a couple things in that if you've got the nightclub itself is pretty cool because they've got of the red and blue color scheme. When Dorothy sings, she's lit in blue, and the background is red curtains. And I'm like, well, that reminds me of Twin Peaks, of course. Got the dream room that's all red curtains, and of course she sings Blue Velvet, which is a classic song. I'm kind of rambling right now. I'm really not all that sure what to say about this movie. I don't have a lot of insight into it. One thing that kind of bugged me a little bit about this movie in the past, and still continues to do so, is that it seems like pretty much every character is really, really, really good or really, really, really bad. Not much in between there. Jeffrey's a good guy, Sandy's a good girl, the cops are good people, Jeffrey's family's good people. Then you've got Frank and all the people he associates with, they're all bad, scuzzy people. And then there's Dorothy. Dorothy kind of straddles the middle. She's not a bad person, but she's picked up some rather weird tastes since Frank met her. But ultimately she's a good person. And the contrast between the super bright and colorful and cheerful, sunny side of the story and of the town and of the characters is pretty far removed from the really dark, grim parts of the movie and the town and the characters. If you get what I mean, there's very little middle ground there of any kind. And I don't know, maybe that just seems a little phony to me. Anyway, Laura Dern's cute in this movie, she's never really been one that really, not really my type, I guess you could say. She looks a little bit too much like my cousins, but she's real cute in this movie. And I noticed that her mouth, when she's really upset, her mouth does the exact same thing that Natalie Portman's does, which gets really contorted, goes really, the lower lip goes up high in the middle and down at the sides. Whatever, I'm just rambling here. So anyway, kind of a half-baked review this time around. But the next movie is going to be Wild at Heart, which is very, very different from Blue Velvet and very, very different from Dune as well. I hope you'll be interested in checking that out. Forgive me if I'm a little scatterbrained, but sort of doing this at the last minute. I just finished rewatching the movie like just a few minutes ago, and this is like the 6th take. So I'm going to sign off for now. Oh, one more thing. Wide shots. Lots and lots of wide shots in this movie. The coverage of scenes tends to... I mean, there's close-ups and everything like that, but there seems to be a lot more shots that take in the entire room when stuff is going on. Anyway, it just seemed to be more than usual. Anyway, that's all I've got for now with Blue Velvet. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye.